Airplane travel is kind of the worst, but also kind of the best because farms. Hi, I'm Kate, and this is Minute Earth. Seriously, one of my favorite things about being on a plane, assuming I'm not stuck on the aisle, is that I have a literal window onto all the amazing shapes farm fields take. Like in Hokkaido, the entire landscape is a patchwork quilt of nearly perfect squares of farmland. These farms in the UK look like irregular puzzle pieces packed tightly together. In one part of Bolivia, farms are shaped like pieces of pie. On the shores of the St. Lawrence River and Quebec, you'll see long, skinny threads of farmland. Not too far away in Wisconsin, the fields are made of curvy stripes. Along South Africa's Orange River, the landscape is dotted with, well, dots. These Libyan farms are hexagons. These fields in southern China look like the tiny ridges on your fingerprints. And that's just a fraction of the shapes out there. When I look out the plane window, I can't help but wonder why any one farm is a puzzle piece, or hexagon, or fingerprint, or anything else. What forces shape these shapes? History is one of these forces. It matters whether an area's farmland was planned out, like these carefully designed pie pieces, or developed more organically, like those UK puzzle pieces. Then there's what the farm is farming. Are we talking plants or animals? Fields for crops require regular tilling, planting, and harvesting, often by machine. And regular shapes are the most efficient to work, especially with big, heavy equipment. Fields where animals graze don't have the same constraints. That's one reason you'll sometimes see perfect squares, and other times much more irregular shapes. Geography is also a big deal as far as a farm's shape. Like, on the slopiest of slopes, farmers have to actually construct flat terraces of land in order to farm at all. That's how you get these fingerprint ridges. And on less slopey slopes, water running downhill can wash soil and nutrients off fields. Farmers sometimes account for this erosion by planting crops along the contours of the landscape, which helps water stay put. That's how stripes crop up. There's also the issue of where a farm's water comes from. Where water is scarce, farmers rely on irrigation, which often distributes water from a central source. So lots of irrigated farms take on radial shapes. These circular fields are fed by a central pivoting sprinkler, and these futuristic-looking hexagons by water pumped from deep underground. And even where there's plenty of water, farms need access to it. Each of these long, thin strips butts right up against the river. That's how so-called ribbon farms happen. Plus, in an area full of ribbon farms, houses are really close together, so it's really easy to have your neighbor over for dinner. A must in tight-knit communities. And when you look closely at those Libyan hexagons and the Bolivian pie pieces, you can see that they're also laid out so that the homes are close together. Our desire for community shapes farms too. This is obviously just scratching the surface. There is incredible diversity in the farms all over our planet, and a lot of things, from history to technology to climate to culture, that might be interacting to shape any one. But the next time you're on an airplane, or messing around on Google Earth, pay attention to the shapes of the farms, because they can tell you a lot about a place, or because they're just plain cool. This video was brought to you by Gates Ventures. Thanks, Bill.